How to study in that house, ma? பக்கத்து வீடு ட்ரில்லிங் வேறு.
And one time, Anushka came back to me. She said, I had the most insane conversation with a couple who live in a small town who actually booked a room to fight. Right. And it blew my mind because, all the data and, startups and consumer tech in general just teaches you so much about understanding data and doubling down on what's working. And here's what data would have told us. Men book OYOs, right? 80% of our bookings are via men. More, in fact, right? Couples form the majority of our bookings, especially in urban centers and even small towns, frankly. Yeah. But you could never have learned this from data. Ever. You could only have learned this by talking to consumers. That हम OYO book करते हैं लड़ाई करने के लिए to fight because we don't have enough space in the house we live in. Okay, so that's the seed that was laid in before ever doing any strat work and nothing. We knew these things before we started. And when we decided that the brand needs to establish presence on major platforms, these are the dots we knew we had to join, right? And that's when I requested a bunch of people, like I said, to come into the room from OYO side, and I got in Basi from the other side, and I said, we need to arrive at who we are as a brand, right? And where we landed was that, India steps out. And remember, we did this before COVID. India still steps out, by the way, because COVID, again, the work from home luxury is a very niche luxury to have. India still needs to step out to make progress in its life, right? And OYO enables that because of everywhere that OYO is present. Because wherever you need to go, for whatever your reason, OYO is there to enable exactly that, right? Match that with this reality of India's lack of space, right? And I think that's something that we also worked with a gentleman called Jitendra Debas from McCann, one of my favorite strat people to work with. And then the whole space angle actually Jitu got him, right? And that's what the combination of the work we did with both of these gentlemen and with the people who were resident at OYO is perhaps, I think, what led to, and all the conversations we had with our consumers. I think conversation actually led to a campaign that we felt the moment we were creating it, we knew that we were onto something that has the potential to transform the brand. And not just the brand, we felt it could transform the business. Did we see awards coming? We didn't even think of entering awards at the time, frankly, right? Yeah. So it's very layered when I look at it in retrospect, but equally it's very simple. And I think the simplicity of solving for space leading to progress, if you ask me, every strat guy or lady in the world looks at that and says that is pure. And I think that's right.
Yeah. So
Sorry, that was a really long explanation.
I let you ramble because it was totally making sense. Okay. Now, for my audiences, I'll just pick up a few threads here. That OYO, it disrupted the tourism industry by coming up with value for money rooms, and the very strength, it had to be given a relevance from the consumer's life, and that had not happened, because everything was just there. So location, like you were saying, and I was reading up what you shared earlier, location was not exactly how when people are going for vacation that they would want. So it was slightly in the interiors. So tier 2, tier 3 cities, people would prefer some other locations despite, other things getting a big tick in the checklist. So how to make its strengths really shine and its perceived disadvantage, turn around in how it appeared. I mean, that is the brilliance of the campaign. So 11 films across 3 years. And then you kept the cultural truths, like middle class is not going to spend just on frivolous reasons. So portal to progress, as you called it.
Yeah, I think, beautifully summed up. And I think, Ritesh always has said, and he always maintains, he's very consistent with this. He started the business for hotel owners. So if you ask for OYO's narrative from OYO, it will always begin with, you know what, we wanted to help or enable hotel owners because we knew that if we did that, we would be able to help the consumers. I think calling ourselves a travel brand was by itself, it's something that I questioned. I think we happen to be in the hospitality category simply because there is no expanded view of the category. I think we're in the space category. I think we provide space wherever you might be. If it is leisure and as such travel and hospitality, we are there, very much there. Are we very strong there? No. And if you start thinking of from the hotel owner side, you will have the answer to why we are not strong there. We are present in greater numbers where it is challenging to create demand for hotel owners. In leisure destinations which have people automatically coming, as such, they are not as challenged to create demand, right? Whereas in a neighborhood location or on the highway or in non-traditional locations, so to speak, it is more challenging to create demand. It is that we had to solve, and thereafter you don't create demand for that from out of towners. You don't ask people from out of town to come stay in a neighborhood location. It doesn't solve their purpose, right? So who's going to go to all of these places in the same city, right? And how can they be used now? And then you come to the whole point that you said, and that's where the dots joined of what some people were already using it as. And of course, yes, the final layer. So it had to be a solution for space. It had to be an extension of your space that we were providing because it was right there. You know, you throw a stone, you'll hit it. We're a consumer tech brand which deals in space, and it solves problems for you as such related to space. Sometimes it could be travel related. And I think if you start looking, and our main purpose of existence is to drive demand for small, medium hotel owners. And if you start looking at things from that lens, it just unravels like very, very seamlessly. And like you said, the India angle is just gold. I mean, you know, as someone who's been around, that the whole Tamram boy and the study or the bong fastidiousness with eating, right? Or the father and son, where the father wants to listen to his own music in his space and the son is getting into metal, and the father might just like disapprove of it, but you know, he'll be like, okay, you know what, for a few $100, I can do this. I can get you out of my ears for a while. So it's hugely layered, but all very logical layers and very enduring layers, like you said.
11 multilingual films released across India across 3 years. Year 1 positioned OYO as the quick next door escape.
यहाँ क्यों है? I have to pick something for my aunt, yeah.
Year 2 positioned OYO as a utilitarian place that solved for your special needs. Year 3 positioned OYO as an enabler of progress by providing space to focus.
How to study in that house, ma? பக்கத்து வீடு drilling வேற.
And so, by repositioning what a hotel room could be, we convinced people living in the same city to come to OYO.